This week, I want to talk about judgment and how it feels simple, very black, very white. But when you live with that type of judgment, because there are different types of judgment, it actually makes life harder to live. Let's talk about it. You're listening to the Candid Coaching Podcast. Hi, friend. I'm Candi, your friendly hypnotherapist, and this space is all about real talk, real awareness, and real healing, where we explore how the mind and body work together to help you live with more ease and clarity. So today I want to talk about black and white thinking, judgment. It feels safe, feels clear, but it really isn't. You see, when you judge other people according to whatever standard you have, as you judge others, let's say you think that I'm a mom. So let's say that I think that being a quote unquote good mom means you homeschool your kids, because that is something I genuinely believed at one time, that was the best type of mother, is a homeschooling mother. Guess what? I don't homeschool my kids anymore. So when I got to the point where I wasn't homeschooling anymore, I felt shame. Why? Because now I was on the other side of the judgment coin. There's a good side and an evil side to each judgment. When you make the judgment, you are likely on the side of good, or in your view, good. But I guarantee you, as you judge others, you will eventually judge yourself on the other side of it, and you will feel ashamed. That's how it works. That's why, if I grew up in Christianity, and why Jesus would say, judge not lest ye be judged. Really, it's what he's saying is not because God's going to judge you now because you're judging others. You fall under that same judgment. You are condemned along with those you condemn. Now, there is a good type of judgment, a judgment where you can ask, is this beneficial? Is it beneficial in this situation to be handled this way? This is why putting overarching laws on things is not good. Like you see people wanting to legislate their faith. That's a problem. Because what happens is, first of all, those who are making the laws that think that they have the correct way of living, they pass a law. First of all, eventually they're going to fall on the other side of that law. They will find somewhere along the line. They'll either hide it and feel ashamed, or they'll hide it and not feel ashamed. Or they'll do the wise thing and let it be out in the open and realize I made a mistake. That takes a lot of courage, a lot of vulnerability, and a lot of people aren't willing to do that. The right kind of judgment is where you can say, in this situation, what is best for me and those around me, or those that it affects? It's best for the collective, not just you and yours, but the collective as a whole. There are consequences that are natural for some things. If I'm cruel to somebody, the consequence is they're not going to want to be around me. They're not going to like me. They may even go and say things about me that don't make me feel very good to hear. They don't like me, and I was cruel to them. Now, if I am kind to them and they go around and do that, there's not really much I can do about that, right? So I just have to continue to live my life, and the consequences of me being good and loving out in the world and to myself will eventually catch up to me. It will stick. If I'm a kind person to everyone I meet, then when people say things that person's not a very good person, it's not going to stick. It won't stick in the long term. It might not feel good when you hear, I've had slander happen toward me, but it didn't stick. with the people who actually know me or anybody who gets to know me. They're like, there's no way that that's you. Our worldview is very important. We grow up in certain environments, certain religions, certain, cultures that teach us moral certainty. And that moral certainty, as much as people hate to say that is subjective, it is. It's not based in some deity in the clouds. It's based on your culture, your religion, and that creates your belief system. And your belief systems are how you live your life. You're going to live your life on what you really believe. So that's why you have to watch actions, because people can say that they believe something and have an action that contradicts, but the action is more true because you're going to live according to your beliefs. As you grow up, you might begin to question some of those moral certainties. And I'm not talking about like big ones, like we all kind of have agreed that harming another person isn't good. And yet we see people being harmed in our streets today because of some sort of law that people are putting above, some judgment above connection with people. This causes all sorts of problems, not just on the big scale in your life, small parts of your life. We treat people differently because of our judgments that we hold. But as you get older, I'm finding, I'm almost 50, that nuance grows and then my ability to hold nuance grows so that I don't think in black and white anymore. Because it's a childlike way of going about in the world. Very black and white. This is right. This is wrong. This is mine. You have yours. And then there's reasons to share, and we have to learn those things because black and white thinking, or this judgment, this harsh judgment, this is the law, and you have to, the laws are meant to help us. And if they don't help us in a situation, the law isn't first. Our love for one another should come first. And we learn that as we grow up. Now, just because we're a full-grown adult doesn't mean we've grown up. You have people in grown bodies that have the mental or the emotional maturity of children because you continue to grow emotionally and mentally, spiritually. Those are all things that we continue to grow in, even after the physical body has reached its peak. So that's why we're always growing. Growth is always something that we're doing, or we're stagnant. And you don't want to get stagnant. You don't want to get stuck. You want to get unstuck if you are, and that's something I can help with as a hypnotherapist. But once you're unstuck, you'll naturally start to grow because you naturally want to grow. You naturally will grow if you're not stuck. And laws, sometimes this harsh judgment gets us stuck. So ways to kind of combat that is to just begin to become aware where you have black and white thinking. A lot of times stereotypes are black and white thinking. All people who look like this, or all people of this religion, or all men, or all women, or, are this, which isn't true. Staying curious. As you're aware, first you become aware, then you be curious. Why do I have that thought? Where does it come from? It can really show some ugly things that you've believed, but you are not your beliefs. You can change your beliefs, and your beliefs will naturally change as you are convinced of the truth. But you got to have an open mind to it. You got to stay curious. You can't be like, nope, that's the truth. And, some people are like, well, it's true because that's what I was taught, or it's true because it's written here, or it's true because that's what my pastor told me, or my teacher told me, or my coach told me, or whatever. All of us are humans just trying to figure it out. So stay open, stay curious, stay humble, and kind of live in this open-ended, like, I don't know all the things. Be willing to get up close to people who are different than you and hear their story. And if you're not willing to do that yet, then read books about them. Read books from their point of view, not about them, from their point of view. If you are a Republican, read a book written by a Democrat. If you're a Democrat, read a book written by a Republican. If you are a white person, read a book from a Black person's perspective, and vice versa, which I'm sure every Black person has read a book from a white person's perspective because that's predominant. So it's mostly, if you're in the majority, begin to see the world through a minority's eyes, through someone other than you. This helps you to get a sense of self-awareness. And as you gain that self-awareness, the judgment's going to naturally kind of be a little more discerning. It's not just going to be this rampant judgment that just thinks, I know the right way and there's only one right way. I have it all figured out. That's the condemnation that you don't want. But you do want discernment. You do want to know in your particular situation what is the most beneficial thing to do. And that you got to figure out. There's no formula. There's no set law. You've got to listen to your own heart, your own gut. You got to learn how to listen to that. And the first step is awareness. And then being aware, observing with curiosity. This will naturally lead to humility and an openness to hear different things you've never heard before, ways of doing things. So if you find yourself in that harsh black and white thinking, you're probably going to find yourself somewhere along the line in a very unpleasant spot, emotionally, mentally, maybe physically. But that shadow, that darkness, is there to lead you towards the light. Because when you loosen the grip, hold on that righteous, I'm right kind of thinking, that black and white thinking, you will find so much love, so much growth, so much hope that you will question why you ever had those judgments in the first place. Remember, transformation isn't about perfection. It's about awareness, curiosity, and practice with a dash of courage. Real change starts with one small step, and you don't have to take it alone.